Welcome to the second lesson of ICT, and we're still doing Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. And in this specific lesson, we're going to be looking at how can a student use Google Sheets or a spreadsheet to really help with economic management science. We want to have a better way of representing data, better way of capturing data today. Okay, so the first task is the students can complete this graph here. So the cost price is the price at which goods have been bought. They can change the color if they want to something different. The income is the same as revenue. Price at which a product or service is sold is the selling price. The bar graph or column chart is that over there. We're going to be making one of these today. And the pie chart is that one over there. Okay, let's go ahead to tables. Now, tables is basically a recap of what we did yesterday or last week. Now, tables is basically a recap of what we did last week. We have this table with food, cost price, selling price, quantity, total cost price, total selling price, and total profit. And what the students need to do is they simply need to go through and calculate this manually. So we're going to have a cost price of $3 with 5 items. So the total cost price is going to be 15. I'm going to whiz ahead and do this. Okay, what is the total cost price that we have a budget for? And that is $19. So this is a good time to talk to the students about what is a budget. It's amount of money that we can spend. So we're going to have budgets. But we're going to go straight ahead. This is just to remind the students, get them straight back into what we're doing today. Now remember, we can do it with Google Sheets or we can do it with Google's Microsoft Excel. So with Google Sheets, I'm going to use the copy directly button. And the copy directly button, I've already used this account, so I'm going to log into this account. And when it logs me in, remember it's going to say make a copy. I'm going to say yes. If you don't want to follow this process, remember you can sign in at the top right before, if you follow the other way, and create a copy here. Or you can download the file as Microsoft Excel. Okay, let's jump straight into tab 1 or the first task. Remember, we only have one tab today. We have a whole bunch of food items listed here. There are about 43 items. We have a cost price and a selling price of each of these items. And we have our shop back here, which they should be familiar with from the HTML table. So the first question, okay, fill in the missing question mark in I5. Hint, use the same calculation as in I4. So we know the total cost price is equal to the cost price multiplied by the number of items, and it's 7. Cool, $35. Alright, so it's a missing question mark. We want to use it in a calculation. If students just write $35, it's not going to work coming up, but they will quickly spot that issue. Let's do the same for J5. So total selling price is the selling price times by the total number of items, $42. Okay, now let's figure out in K5, and we're going to solve the profit. And we're going to solve the question mark, and that is equal to J minus I. Perfect. Now we're going to drag and drop for each of those 3 rows from I5 to I13. So this is just simply the student drag it down here. They'll see there's something has happened here. We're going to do the same where we drag it down here. And we're going to do the same where we drag it down here. And we can see a couple of problems happening here. But that's not a problem. We're going to solve that now. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to choose 5 more items from the drop down. So they can go here and click bagel, pancake, whatever it is that they want to add to their own website, they're going to be able to add here. To their own shop, sorry, they're going to be able to add here. I'm just going to choose these 5 here, and I'm going to copy it across, because when they choose the 5 more items from the drop down, they need to fill in the cost and selling price for each of these items, because once they've done that, they can fill in the cost and selling price for each of those items from B and C into those columns there that I've done. Right? The next task, remember we can cross these things out as we go. So I'm going to cross that out there. In column H, fill in the quantity you'd like to buy. Now budget is $200. We don't know what our budget is yet. I'm just going to drag this 10 down here, and we're going to add 10 items here. Okay, we have a budget of 200, so we can see we are a little bit ahead. So I'm going to make that 5, 3, 1. There we go. 3, cool. There we go. We got our budget. We're within budget. That is fine. Then we want to discuss what is a budget. So remember, budget is the total amount of money we have to spend, right? Where do we use a budget? You know, this is a great way to speak about how mom and dad might use Google Sheets or Microsoft or a spreadsheet to keep their budget for their monthly expenses. They often would have related to seeing their parents use a program like this. Okay, now we want to find the sum of the column total selling price and total profit, right? We can see we have sum there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it across, but it would be great to have the students writing it in. Okay, edit your table in any way you choose. Now I've added a purple table here, but they can do what they want. So we can add some more colors, encourage the student to have something that would look nice. It's a shop. They want to advertise it. It's got to look good. It's got to look appealing. The next thing we do is task 13. Now we want to highlight, this is really now one to do with the students once they've all got some good looking shops. We're going to highlight column E, F, and G, including food, but not the total row. So that looks like this, E, F, and G, including the food, but not including the total row. Okay, so we've highlighted that. Now we're going to insert a chart that is a bar graph showing cost price and selling price. So we're going to go insert, we're going to insert a chart, and that chart is going to be a bar graph. Oh, I'm going to double click on it again, so you can double click to get your chart options back. So it's a column chart that we have, which is perfect. Now, we can see that there are different items. The red is the selling price, the blue is the cost price. Now, could we look at something like this, and could we understand or decide or see from the graph which item has the largest profit? So we're going to change some things around here. So what we want to do is we want to get students to customize the title of their chart. So we're going to say cost price and selling price of food, for example. They might want to say that. We want them to change the color. So let's go, maybe we got the red one here, which is selling price. Why don't we make the red one this blue? Why don't we change the blue and make the blue one a yellow? And we can change these colors around a little bit. So what we want to discuss is, what does the graph show you? What do the different colors mean in this graph? So for example, the graph that the blue here means the selling price, the gold now means the cost price. So what we want to work out here is which item has the largest profit margin. Right, so we can see these little gaps here, but it's still quite difficult. We can see, like, for apples, don't have a big profit margin at all. Corn doesn't have a big profit margin at all. Bagels have a big profit margin. But how can we figure out the one that has the biggest profit margin? And again, we did it last time. And what we did last time is we added another row, which is the profit per item, or the total profit, which is fine. But if we had the profit per item, I'm going to add it here, profit per item. And we said that the profit per item was the selling price minus the cost price, and we drag that down, right? We can format those as dollars over there. Even better, we can select that, click on our little format paint tab, and we can select those exactly the same. So that's our profit per item. Now, what is our profit margin? Profit margin is how much we make for every item we sell. So it's going to go the profit per item divided by the selling price of that item. And that is not in currency, that is in a percentage. And that is 33% over there. And then we go, we can see, which has our highest profit margin? It is both the bagel and it is a banana. And does that look about right? Bagel, yeah, bagel looks pretty big. And let's have a look at banana. Also looks pretty good, big. And even though these are different sizes, remember, different students will have different food groups. We want to see if they can work out that even though they're different sizes, it's still the same profit margin. So then the final challenge, and this is really intended to keep your students quite busy in solving and figuring out various things, is we give them now $500 to spend. Right, so the total cost price or our budget has to be $500. We can buy more food items. So what is the most profit we can make? Now, instead of being limited like we were last time with what it is that we can buy, we can now buy various other things. So for example, we might want to add cookies because we can see that, the bagels and the bananas are good. We maybe need to buy cookies, for example, and maybe the cookies are a better thing to buy. And we can slowly start increasing our profit and see, limited by a budget of $500, what is the highest profit we can get. And your students can copy these across here. And it's a great way for your students to try and understand how Excel can be useful.